Yeah, thanks, Lascian Corla. So I move for leave to introduce the Rent Reduction Bill 2022. The purpose of this bill is to amend the Residential Tenancies Act to reduce rents to affordable levels by limiting rents to a maximum of a quarter of median monthly household income, and to establish a national rent authority to oversee this, and there will be an exclusion for luxury accommodation because we don't particularly want to control the rents of multimillionaires renting penthouses or luxury suites. But the need for us to control rents should be self-evident, as is the total failure of the government to do so. The rent pressure zones have failed, and failed spectacularly, to control rents. Rents in the last decade have increased by more than average rents, by more than 100%. In the last year alone, they've gone up by 12%. And they have now reached truly obscene levels. So in my area, and this, by the way, is going up literally by the week, but at the last count, the average rent was €2,200. And you'd be lucky to find somewhere, actually, for that these days. So just think about that. I mean, that is impossible for the vast, vast majority of working people. For somebody on average income, you would be forking out about 70% of your income in order to pay that rent. So needless to say, huge numbers of people simply cannot do that, and so they are being driven into homelessness. Working people who go out, work hard, do all the right things, but at the end of the week, their income is not even close to being enough to pay these absolutely extortionate rents. So we have to do something about it. And by the way, this is also costing the state. So we are now, because we have no choice but to support people on lower incomes in terms of giving them housing assistance payment, and lease arrangements and RAS arrangements, but that is costing the state now about €1 billion a year, and again, that is rising. It's insanity. So the public, the taxpayer, the state is being absolutely crucified by these corporate landlords charging extortionate rents, and ordinary people simply cannot afford them, and many of them are driven into homelessness and into absolutely desperate situations. I mean, I raised yesterday the case of Anthony and Niamh, who are still homeless as we speak, who were with 2 children. The only thing they were offered over the last few days since they were made homeless, because they can't find anywhere to rent after being evicted by a landlord on the grounds of sale, the only thing they were offered was 1 bedroom for them and their 2 children in a hostel in town, when the 2 kids go to school in the Sallynoggin area. One of the couple works in Bray, the other works in Sallynoggin, and the only offer they get is a hostel in Gardner Street, 1 room for 4 children. I mean, it's shocking. And I have about, I'm not exaggerating, about 12 cases of households now at the moment. Vast majority of them are people who are working with kids who are going to be in the same situation over the next few weeks. It's absolutely shameful. And the high rents are directly contributing to it. Now, the government will say, oh, well, eventually the supply will reduce the rents. That's absolute nonsense. There's no evidence to suggest that at all. Even when we had supply at record levels during the Celtic Tiger period, rents did not go down, they continued to rise, as did house prices. And when you look at the stuff that's being built by the developers at the moment, as the supply comes on, it's extortionate rents that they're charging. So we have to do something about this. Obviously, we have to deliver our own public and affordable housing, but a key part of addressing this crisis is to actually control and set rents as they do in many other countries. So I doubt very much the government are going to agree with this, but we are going to fight and fight hard and campaign to have a proper rent control regime introduced in this country.